What up, y'all? Justin Gay, Seeds of Zanzibar, growing microgreens in the heat. I'm gonna be seeding out some cilantro. While I talk to you guys. This is a video I've been wanting to get out to you guys now for a while. As you can see, even like these cilantro, man, super long. It's all good though. I'll show you how to make that work. But anyway, what I'm getting at is that we are now in that nasty summer heat that we normally get. To be quite honest with you, I feel as though we're like a month behind. I feel as though the heat that we're getting now, we normally get that in August and in July. But this year, we're getting it in September. When it comes to the plot, I got caught a little bit off guard. But with the microgreens, starting our seeds a day later. So even the things that we have to sow, they're all going a day later. But when the colder parts of the year, we're normally starting and soaking our microgreens on Tuesday. Actually, we will go as early as Monday when it's really cold. This goes for pretty much any tail, peas to cilantro to even sunflower. Just go ahead and just add a thin layer of compost on top of them. They seem to be okay. They just seem to need just enough contact to refocus their energy back down into the soil. That's kind of the trick when it comes to overgrown or oversprouted soaked seed. Seems like, man, probably like this week, actually last week, it started getting this different type of hot almost, man, where it's just like that nasty, like stagnant hot that we get around here. Still in the 90s, 100s, but it's just like this, I mean, it's a bit breezy right now. And there's a little bit more humidity out here too. I feel the humidity, I think, because I've been watering, because normally I've been really dry out here. But anyhow, things are growing really fast now. So basically what I'm doing is shifting my growing day from Thursday, which it is now, over to Friday for at least the sunflower and my pea and cilantro. Pea actually I might keep on Thursday, but cilantro and the sunflower, those are definitely getting moved to Friday, just because they're moving so fast in their growth right now. Mid-July to early August is when this stuff normally kind of kicks in. It just decided to kick in now. I thought I was actually past it, but everything is kind of reacting now. I would not mind the fall, like the actual cool to get here. The cool. Anyhow, we are still keeping up the good fight. That is definitely one thing that we are doing to kind of slow down, or not really even slow down, just kind of adhere to the change in microgreen growth. Everything's going a lot faster. Leafy greens and microgreens seem to be growing really, really fast. Another thing that I've been doing is keeping my microgreens in my cooler, like a little rack like this. And I can at least hold 9 of them inside of there. And I normally, if we do have 9 coming back, sometimes we do. I mean, last week we did. It's cool that I can actually hold a substantial amount of microgreens in there and be able to harvest them today for our mix. So that's really cool. That kind of like zombie apocalypse type heat. You dig? It's like that heat that just zaps you, takes the life right out of you. I'm just like, ugh, I don't want to do anything but just drink water and sit down. All right, cilantro is done. Should be in front of some microgreens at least, right? So the next important thing is watering. Right now we're watering twice a day, pretty much all the microgreens, including the broccoli, everything. The pea really benefit from the watering. I think probably, actually I see a benefit in all of them, to be honest with you, of course, because they're not wilting. But the pea especially, it seems to just, I don't know, really respond. I'll hit a nice soak early in the morning, but what ends up happening is that it starts getting so dry, and then every once in a while we do get these little breezes that come through here. It actually feels pretty good right now. But sometimes those can be pretty warm wind as well, or they could just be more of this dry wind. And what ends up happening is that the microgreens begin to wilt. So what I normally do right about 12 o'clock, we'll kind of just come through and just lightly spray the top of them on a shower setting. Still getting watered. I don't want to make it sound as though they're not getting watered. We're just not going nearly as heavy as what we were earlier in the morning. What I find is that they really seem to react pretty well. And the growth rate seems to really be moving accordingly. Everything that you see here was seeded out, except for the cilantro. Everything was seeded out last Thursday. We now, like I was kind of getting at earlier in the video, we are now going over to seeding out our sunflower on Friday. Sunflower at this time, honestly, if I really needed it to be, it could be up in about 5 days. This is a 6-dayer. See what I'm saying? I mean, yeah, 1 or 2 days can make a big difference in and the length of a microgreen. Therefore, meaning the weight of your microgreens as well. So keep that in mind. Mold hasn't really been too big of an issue. This is what I was kind of getting at earlier. Once we start getting just hot, it doesn't seem to really be bothering. The mold doesn't really seem to come around. We have to worry about them getting cooked, so our stacks can't be too thick, but we don't have to worry too much about mold for the most part. We knew that arugula looks good. Arugula is another one, man. Arugula is another about 5-day turnaround this time of year. Once we start getting into those 90s, especially the higher 90s, you can kind of get arugula out of the way a little bit faster. We are now growing arugula, which is something that I've kind of grown off and on. Normally I'm growing it in a mix, but now I'm kind of growing it as a standalone as well. We're growing red Russian kale, cilantro, pea, sunflower radish, broccoli, as well as a mix that's consisting of all the brassicas and including our collard green. Things have been going really well back here. But yeah, like I said, not too much mold. Things are just kind of hot, and we're keeping on that watering schedule. Believe it or not, by tomorrow morning, these things are dry. They've kind of had it. A bit later today, a lot of these things could have already actually had it if I didn't do that extra watering. So it really helps them out a lot. I had a couple questions, but it kind of all fell under, growing microgreen in the heat, It's just a bit of a different grow. So, just kind of keep that in mind if you're doing it outdoors. Oh, also the shade, the canopy. How could I forgot that? That is probably the number one thing that we have. Seeding densities are right about the same, although we are now at a 50 mil for our broccoli and pretty much all of our brassicas except for radish. It's still getting a half a pound of flat, so it's been working out really well. A way that you can actually start telling when you want to start growing your microgreens a little bit later is just looking at the microgreen, especially ones like sunflower. When you get it into like that 8th or 9th day, it's already starting to sprout its third leaf. So in some cases, it could be a pretty big third leaf at that time too, especially when you get into the 10, 11 day space. It could be a huge third leaf. That thing is ready to take on the world, man. If you haven't tasted one of those things before, they're disgusting. They're one of the most bitter, nasty things. You don't want that third leaf to get too big, otherwise it definitely will throw off the flavor profile of your sunflower. But when you start to see things like that happen, that's when you know maybe you need to push it back a day. Normally that's all you need to do. If you need to go two. I'm in Fontana, California. We're in the low desert. This is a 9B, 10A. That's our hardiness zone. That's kind of it, man. I'm kind of thinking what else I can think of. They're really bumping. They're bumping. These cilantro are a bit thin because I've been playing around with them. In the winter, we'll go over those types of procedure. But right now, like I've said in the past, growing in the summer, for the most part, is a lot easier than growing in the winter for us. It's for the most part, it's just like watering, setting them in one place, and then they can grow. When we're taking the microgreens out of the stack, that's another thing too that's huge. In the wintertime, we have to wait for the microgreens to be a certain size before we actually take them out of the stack in order for them to grow. If we take them out too small, they, for the most part, will just stun because of the heat, or the lack thereof. It's just too cold for them in the winter. Right now, we can actually take our microgreens out of the stack a little bit earlier when they barely just started to pop out of the seed if I wanted to, and they should actually go ahead and take off. I like to leave them in a little bit longer than that, normally a couple hours to maybe the next day, and I find and then they're perfect. Again, just easier to grow, at least for me, in the heat. That's pretty much all I got, guys. If you guys have any questions regarding growing microgreens in the heat, or just growing microgreens in general, outdoors, or just growing microgreens in general, or just whatever, man, growing whatever it is that you're growing, let me know. Leave them down in the comments below. Don't forget to rate, comment, and subscribe. Thanks so much for watching, y'all. Thanks so much for showing the love. Appreciate that. Yeah, I got a couple more things around here to do, and then I'm gonna call it quits. Sweating for no reason. You know what I'm saying? It's real out here, man. Peace.